Listen, you two. Listen, all I want to know, I just want to know one simple thing. When do I get to become an islander?
Ellen, never. Never. You're not born here, you're not an islander.
Maybe
that's it.
It's fine. Yeah, fine.
Listen, if the kids go in the water, it's worrying you.
No.
And they can play out here on the beach.
It's all right, let them go.
We know all about you, Chief. You don't go in the water at all, do you?
It's some bad hat, Harry.
Chief Brody, you are uptight.
How did you become involved from the beginning?
Well, when we heard that Jaws was going to be made and that they were recruiting volunteers for extras, we decided to apply. We have 4 children, and we thought, well, if one of them could do it, it would be lots of fun. So the interviewing happened to go next door to our house here at the Kelly House, and Sherry Rhodes was the person that did the interviewing. And before we went over, I put my kids together and said, now please, all of you, answer any question you're asked in full sentences, and of course they didn't. Have you ever been in plays before? Uh-huh. No, like that. And so they were recruited for extras instead of the main parts.
As were you, right?
Well, actually, I showed up on the first day of shooting, and then the second day, and I was just going to be in the background, and they said, as long as you're coming and watching the kids and kind of supervising everything for us, you might as well get a salary too. So I signed on.
Do you recall your very first day on the set?
Well, the first day, my third son, Teddy, was asked to be there, and it was taken at the Gay Head, right at the top. And so I put him with the group that went early, and I went up later with his lunch and couldn't wait to hang around and see what was going on. And it was, Teddy had a funny story when I asked him the other night. He said that there were long periods where they couldn't shoot because there was bombing on No Man's Land, which is a little tiny island right off of Gay Head. And so while they were bombing, the shooting stopped and nothing to do, and some of the kids had baseball gloves and balls, and so Steve Spielberg and Richard Dreyfuss, they decided to play ball while they were waiting, so it was fun. And then if you'll notice, when Richard Dreyfuss is trying to say the name of the shark, I forget what it is now, that long name, there were several takes because he couldn't get it straight. So they finally put a big sign behind the main character there, and so if you notice carefully, he shifts his eyes to that when he takes a little pause and says it and gets it right. So that was funny.
And I guess the beach footage was all shot before the Orca footage, right?
The beach was shot, yes.
So what can you, just any stories?
Well, one of the boys has a birthday party, and so they had a small group for the party, and I think the most fun that day was having lunch right on the road, right beside the bridge, and they had a few big trailers there, and we sat with Peter Benchley and all the stars, and that was really fun, and so this small group had to we were able to have lunch with them. Now the days that they shot the big scenes at the beach, you had to bring your own lunch, so they didn't provide it then. But that was quite a treat.
Do you know how many days total you were actually there?
Probably about, I'd say 10 days over the summer. One or more of us.
Any other things come to mind about all the beach material?
About the beach.
Were you there for the Alex Kittner killing?
Yes. The day that Alex was swimming on the raft, they had to do a few takes because the first burst of blood was just sky high, and it was just so unreal, and so they had to redo that, and that took a long time. It was a lot of fun on the beach days, but there were times that the kids, you know, got a little bored and so on. One interesting time was down at the boatyard the day they strung up the big shark, and everybody thought they had caught it. At the end of the day, Richard Dreyfuss was had his back to me, and I only had a few feet left in my movie camera, so I started the camera going, and he heard the camera, turned around, and he performed, and he said, oh, this coat, yes, this has cost so much, and these pants, and he went on and on. Of course, my camera didn't have sound, but so he was quite acting then again. And let's see, the whole family, the whole crew stayed next door to us for the summer at the Kelly house, which hadn't been quite finished in time for summer rentals, so they rented the entire Kelly house for the crew of Jaws. So that was a lot of fun too, living right next door all summer. Not quite as much fun when the trucks would start up at 6 in the morning and get their motors going for an hour, parked right outside behind our house. But and one thing that I was very impressed with was the length of hours that they work. This is a major commitment when they do make a movie. They start so early and they work so late. And then after they finish the day's work, I guess from what I understand, they go and watch all the day's takes. So they even work longer than that. So it's amazing.
I just thought of another story you mentioned to me on the phone about the old man, Harry, with the cat on his head who came up to the lady
right.
Floating in on her back.
Right. One day at the beach, my son had a wetsuit on, and he was asked by Stephen to go way out in the water so they could focus the camera and get ready for the next shot and do odds and ends, little things. And this one man, Al Wild, who was supposed to dive, go underneath this very large woman, he couldn't quite make it, so they asked Andy to put on the black bathing cap and go under, and then they filmed Al coming up. So it was little things like that were fun when asked to do, and of course you don't see any of these behind-the-scenes shots. We know about it, and it's kind of amusing to see what they actually do with the shot. That, for example, when they're filming a scene and somebody rides a bike behind the scene or does any action, you say, oh, okay, now that person's been told to do this, and that one walk now and do this. So it's a lot of fun to see a movie being made.
So that's pretty much your beach experience. What? There's a picture of you and your kids out on the Orca in the book. Were you out there at some point?
Yes, on the last day of shooting, my children and I were asked to be there, and we did a lot of sitting around, and then my daughter got stung by a bumblebee, and the nurse was way out on the boat, and I said, don't worry, you know, it's no problem, and oh no, absolutely, this nurse has to see you, and okay, that everything's all right, and I said, really, we don't have to go out, and they insisted, so we were taken out by boat to the where the Orca was, and Joe Alves was on the tug, and he said at the end, after it was all over, he noticed I was filming with my camera, which I did a lot, and he asked if I wanted to have a demonstration of how the whale actually worked. And I said, that would be wonderful. I'd love to see that. So I have it all on my camera as he raised the whale about 6 feet out of the water, and it went right and left and up and down and swirled around. It was really great. On the 4th of July beach scene, there were hundreds of people on the beach, and then with a loudspeaker they talk, and they tell the whole crowd what to do. And this was going to be a major thing where everybody was in the water, and then when the girl yells shark, everybody's to come out. And I was kind of pretending that I was a nanny, so I had on a skirt and blouse and not the bathing suit. So, and I was pretending I was running down to the water's edge to get my child and so on. And they had to retake the scene because one of the people looked injured to me. And I said, oh, are you really hurt or something like that? And I ruined the scene. It was a hired actor. that was pretending, and so because of me, they had to reshoot the whole scene.
It's all your fault.
No.
That's funny.
Someone was concerned.
Actor did such a good job.
Did you have much interaction with the three leads?
There was quite a bit. We have a store, and they all came in and shopped now and then they were awfully kind to the kids. There were so many children in and about, and they were really fun. They explained to the kids what they were doing, and they seemed to take an interest in explaining everything.
I think Jeffrey Voorhees happened to mention that Robert Shaw was the only one who was not very approachable.
Robert Shaw was, yeah, he was not, of course he wasn't in any of the scenes with the kids, so we really didn't see him. I don't think I saw him at all. You know, the first half of the movie is so much interaction with the townspeople, and the second half, it's entirely the three guys. So I thought one of the cutest scenes in the whole movie was when the chief and the little boy were at the table, and they're so cute the way they interacted there. It was adorable. And because my picture was in the book, I did have some phone calls from agents for TV, and I said, I think the one child that you want to get is that the little boy. He's so wonderful, and sings this little song by the beach, and of course he was so cute.
Did you mention that you were there for the shark blowing up? I may have seen
The last day, you know, I thought I was, but I'm really not sure now. So.
What about the home movies that you took? Did you?
I had, every day that I was on call, I would take my home movie camera, and we had some very interesting shots. For some reason, they had a blown-up female woman, I think that was supposed to be in the shark's mouth one day or something, and it didn't, whatever they had her for didn't work out, so she was hanging out the back of a car, and I got that picture. And pictures of some of the people coming in and out of their trailers. Some of them stopped to talk, and just the kids at play. One of the days they had at the beach, they had a machine, oh dear, the thing you watch videos on, and my son spent a good part of the day playing with that machine. And I can see all the people that I know in the movie, but you have to say, oh, that was him, that was her, and they go by so quickly. You have no idea that they're going to be such a flash. Oh, one incident was when they announced that the Jaws previews were going to be held. It was a nondescript movie, but it was one of the biggest nights that the movie theater had ever had, because everybody who had been an extra wanted to see if in fact he or she was going to end up on the cutting room floor. And I was really happy because I saw myself and all my children. So that was fun. I knew we were in the movie somewhere. So
That was just a trailer, right? The preview?
yeah, the preview,
For
right.
another movie that was playing?
Yeah, these were the Jaws was the preview for a nondescript movie that was playing. So
I thought the first, the initial screening, the test screening, was held in Boston. That's what
it was. This was just the preview.
Coming attraction.
Coming attraction.
Oh, here's a trailer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. Yeah,
They went to see the
Yeah.
nondescript movie just to see the trailer.
right.
Just like Phantom Menace, the same thing happened.
Right.
Star Wars.
Yeah,
Minutes.
right. And we did go to Boston to see the opening of Jaws, and that was a lot of fun. The kids really enjoyed that because we hadn't seen the stars for almost a year, and several of them were there.
Great. So, was anyone invited to the actual premiere screening in Manhattan? Or?
No,
No,
none of the extras. You know,
not even Lee Care.
well, she probably was. I don't know about that. Yeah.
Did you talk to Steven Spielberg in any conversations at all?
Just briefly.
Of course, back then he was just really, some kid, right?
Well, yeah, he had never. He told my son when they were playing baseball at Gay Head there. He said, I never played much as a boy, so I think his energies were into filming, getting started. The Boys Club band might be mentioned.
They came marching down the street?
Yes, yeah, they came marching up the street. The Boys Club band was hired, and Jaws made a hefty donation to the Boys Club, which was very much appreciated. And it was a cute part of the movie. And 3 of my sons were in the band, so that was fun too. One thing also, they rented quite a few trucks, Avis trucks. And if you think about it, you can make Jaws out of the word Avis. So they did that so that they could be distinguished as Jaws trucks, not Avis. If you draw it, it works.
Actually, we saw a photograph of the Jaws truck from another gentleman.
Well, then it was an Avis truck.
Oh, really?
If you look closely.
Okay.
Did you take still pictures as well as the movies?
If I did, I must have, but they're not organized at all.
Any anecdotes other what you
Any
brought?
last words?
Let's see. It was just a great deal of fun. And
Did it change your life any?
it was a great source of conversation for several years. Yeah,
It still is.
and still is.